Anything you're not happy about, Jamie, or you think like, oh, I can answer that a bit different, obviously just tell us and I can stop and start it. I can edit
My
this completely
appearance,
down.
my voice, my answers, and yeah, just generally everything I do on it. But I don't think you
Just
can do anything.
that.
Yeah, yeah, just those. Once we sort them
So
out,
it's
it'll be
just
fine.
hello, goodbye.
Yeah.
Hello and welcome to Personal Battles. I'm back after Easter. What do I do? Who am I? And what is this thing? I'm on YouTube and podcasts, and all your podcast channels are available. But this time we are back with another battle guest. Ooh. Yes, this week we are going to be interviewing battle guest Jamie. Now, before we get to Jamie, we are talking to him live via channel Zoom, and we're going to find out a little bit more about him, what his traumas have been, how he's fallen on the battlefield, but more importantly, as the show is about, how he gets back up and keeps moving forward. This is not a show just about the depths, the darkness. This is also about the light and how people get up, keep moving, and help others in similar situations. The human spirit, it keeps going forward. Ooh. Right, let's move on. Hello to battle guest Jamie.
Hello, Al. How you doing? You all right?
I am great, mate, with a slightly deeper, coffeeier, sexier voice. Ooh, that's what I've been away for. I've
You're
been
ill as
working on the
well.
voice.
We've both got a bit of a cough and yeah, coughing and spluttering is the order of the
Coughing,
day.
spluttering, but are two men with lovely long hair. So look at that. Wow. If you're just listening to this on the podcast, I feel sorry for you just having this treat in the ears because visually we are both stunning as well. There's just two hairy men. So check it out on YouTube.
Yes, got nice long brown hair, luscious brown hair. No other colours in my hair, just brown.
No, brown. I'll add the filter later.
Thank you, mate. Thank you.
Okay, what I like to do first is friendly fire. If you don't know what that is, it's kind of an icebreaker. And I use this on every show with a battle guest. So it really gets to know the person, just start talking conversations. I find if someone is struggling, asking them, are you okay? Can easily lead to a quick shutdown of, yes, I'm okay, move on. But if you ask them a bit of a weirder question, it can help people get talking. And then you find out what is really happening. So listen to this episode, go back to previous shows, and you hear all the other friendly fire questions. This friendly fire question is brought to you by my brother Steve, Fireman Steve.
Okay, and you need to take it seriously.
Nah.
Or a bit of humour, right?
Okay.
What, in your opinion, in a sentence or two, is the secret to life? Do I have to say what I think it is?
For our YouTube watchers, yeah, what is your answer?
It's quite simple, actually. The secret to life is sincerity. Because once you can fake that, you can do anything.
Secret to life.
Yeah.
I would say happiness, your happiness, other people's, those around you, forgiveness, forgive yourself for things, don't hold on to things. Happiness and forgiveness is what I'd say. That's the key to life.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah. Especially with forgiving yourself. We can all be sometimes a little too harsh on ourselves. So yeah, we forgive those around you, but don't forget to forgive yourself. What can I do? For me, I've always been jealous of people who are happy in their careers. You know, people who go to work and love their job.
Mm.
What's that like? So I find if you find something that you love doing, a career, and you're following your passion and you're on a path to where you want to go, that must be amazing. So it's kind of something where I'm trying now. I've left my old path and I'm starting a new path. I might not get to the destination, but I'm on a path and I'm happier for it. And hopefully doing things like the podcast and videos that I make, you might say I put a lot of passion and creativity into it and it's a lot more me. I believe in it. So hopefully others do too. So whatever you're doing out there, if you're in a career that you're a small business trying to do something yourself and selling things, that comes through, that love and passion that you're creating, and either in gifts, products, services. If you care about something, it really shines through. So yeah, I would say find your passion and follow it.
What do they say? If you do a job you love, you never work a day in your life. So it's probably true, isn't it?
Yeah,
I wouldn't know.
Absolutely. We'll get to that. So I want to find out a little bit more about Jamie. So who is Jamie? Quick, give me a paragraph, Jamie. Who are you?
Paragraph. I'm Jamie. I'm from down south. Live just outside of London now.
Right.
Kind of spent my formative years, my teens, sort of in London. Family originate West London, hence being struck with the curse of being a Fulham fan.
Oh, no way. Oh, I'm
There's
sorry.
a couple of others out there, but I'm one of them. Yeah. Yeah. Train driver
Oh,
on London
train
Underground.
driver. Oh, you're living
Train
every
driver on London Underground.
little boy's dream, are you? Train driver.
Well, yeah, it's funny. I've had a few. So my kids have ridden on the front of the train with me, and I've had a few friends who I'd never expect. But, they get on and go, "Oh, wow, this is so cool," and then
Yeah.
give it half an hour, and they're like, "Okay, so it's just
Can I get off? Is
this
this it?
over and over." I'm like, "Yeah, there you go." Before driving on the Met line on the Underground Metropolitan line, I was an engineer on the Underground, so trackside equipment, signal failures. So obviously we're very busy. Just fixing equipment, maintaining equipment, and stuff like that. So I've been on the railway for 20 years now, which is weird because I'm only 25, obviously.
Yeah, strange.
So Well, there's don't do the maths there. There'll be discrepancies. But yeah, so railway, mainly for my entire career, bar a few years at the start. But that's that really. Yeah, two kids, two boys, loving wife. Running, and have the occasional battle, which is why we're here, I suppose.
That is why we're here. Yeah, nice link into my next subject, Jamie. Yeah. So this is personal battle. So let's go to your battlefield, the conditions, how it led up to one moment, or maybe you had many moments throughout your life, Jamie. Let's find out now. Over to you. What was your battle? How did you get there? And basically just tell me a little bit about it.
I mean, I suppose the first battle that I can really sort of remember was when I was in sixth form many years ago. I just kind of, it's the time where your friends are all discussing what they're going to do at uni, what uni they want to go to, the next steps in life, set up their career, where they want to take
Right. Yeah.
themselves. And I enjoyed bits and bobs. I enjoyed media. That was my big thing I really liked. But I mean, whether it was my enjoyment or how I was feeling, I don't know. But I felt like I didn't like it enough to commit to it, I suppose. And very aware university is very expensive, and I didn't want to put sort of financial burden on myself or my parents for something that I wasn't fully committed to.
Right.
And I think that kind of the way I spoke to you pre-record was I just felt kind of lost, directionless is the best way I can sort of describe it. Just didn't know. I just felt like I was treading water while everyone else was, planning their
Had
lives.
plans and you were going, yeah.
Yeah. So it was fine. It was it wasn't a huge issue. Midway through sixth form, my granddad, who I was very close to, the reason I'm a Fulham fan, he passed away fairly suddenly, and that was my first real sort of dealing with grief and loss. And I didn't take it too well. That's my first experience of sort of mentally struggling. So going from not really knowing what I wanted to do, that happened, and I didn't care, about what I wanted to do. I was just day by day, just doing nothing. Stopped sort of going to sixth form, and was just being a waster, really, doing not too much. Made the decision, had a nice conversation with my mum. It was her dad, her side of the family. We spoke about sort of getting away. He'd love me to see the world, and so he left some money for me and my sister, and I used that to go to Australia basically. And went to Australia. I was there for I think 7-8 months in total. Really helped, sort of getting away. I knew it wasn't a permanent thing, but it was kind of a restart. The age I was at, I went when I was 18. My mum and dad always say, I went away a boy, came back a man. You've got to sort of find that independence and do things by yourself. And so that was my first dealing with sort of mental health struggles, was the passing of my granddad. Then Australia, came back, did a few jobs. And then that's when I got my route into the railway. Was my cousin was living in Australia, got there through the railway. So in my head at the time then was, well, I just want to go back to Australia. I want to live there. You know, I was happy there. That's what I want to do.
Yeah.
I'll get onto the railway, get the points. I don't know if it's the same now. Point system that, you know, the jobs that would be able to get you to live over there. Now be it. See you later, UK. See you later. Problems here. So then that's when I started my journey on the railway. I was an engineer for many years first. Didn't hate the job at all. Made some very, very good friends. Obviously, still very young. Had a good group of young people who started at the same time. It's like an apprentice scheme. Made friends for life. Still friends with a lot of them now. You know, groomsmen at weddings and that sort of things are very close. So happy times there. My next dealing with sort of mental health struggles was so part of this railway engineering. I was permanent night shifts for, I'd say, close to 8 years, which I never enjoyed from the first shift to the very last shift. I never got used to it. Yeah, right. never sort of. Some people do, you know. There was a guy I worked with who had been on nights for 40 years. You know, he was close to retirement. Loved it. He'd get home from work at 7 a.m., but he'd get home from work, so he'd have his evening, watch a bit of telly, and then say like 10 a.m. he'd have his dinner. So he'd be sitting at 10 o'clock having a lasagna or something. Go to bed, wake up 9 o'clock at night, have breakfast, cereal, come to work. The routine was flipped. He loved it. He would never have it any other way.
Right.
I was the complete opposite. You know, I always felt like I was going to bed 7 in the morning. I was flipped, you know. But then obviously, like just things like the food and stuff like that, you know, you're having breakfast at lunchtime and dinner at breakfast, and I couldn't get my head around it. I hated it.
Right.
Then throw in winter. I'd met my now wife. We were together, and throw in winter time, it'd be a case of I'd never see daylight. Never, you know, for it could be 2-3 months. I'd just for the Monday to Friday. You know, I'd be getting into bed at 7 a.m. It was dark. You'd sleep through till whatever time. If say you slept till sort of 3 o'clock in the afternoon, it could be dark then, and you just then go to work all through the night, back to bed. And it was okay at the weekends. You know, my wife, now wife, is amazing in the sense that, you know, on a Saturday, I'd get home from work on a Saturday morning, into bed. She'd wake me with, you know, sausage sandwich, cup of tea, stick the telly on. It'd always be watch the Grand Prix or watch the football or something, which was, you know, very caring. But it was also to get me. You need to wake up. You need to sort of, you know,
get you started. Yeah.
Because I said to you before, during the week, I get into bed at 7 as she's getting up to go to work. So the flat was empty. There's no reason to get up, really. You know, hit the snooze, and the further you get into it and sort of feel more down, you think, "Oh, sod this," and hit the snooze and turn it off, or don't set the alarm. And there was a period I was going to bed at 7 a.m. and I'd wake up about 8:30 at night, literally shower, food in me, go to work, you know. Wow. Smoking heavily then at the time. You know, obviously, as I said, eating wasn't great. Socializing was amazing. Had a great group of friends all in the same job as well, so they all understood. You know, the early days of being with my wife and our friendship groups coming together, so it'd be big nights out. The downside of it is you'd only have a Saturday to do it. So if you binge drinking, throw binge drinking onto it, you know.
Right, everything's crammed into one day.
Yeah, exactly. A week's worth, you know, and because of my job, you can't drink when you're working. So I'd never be one to sort of, especially on nights, it's weird, but I'd never come home, have a beer. You know, it'd always be, well, I'll save it for when we go out. So it'd be a Saturday, you know, my wife would wake me up midday to get me up, have something to eat. We could be out starting the night out at 2 p.m., 3 p.m. But then the thing is, because of the shifts working nights, my body is used to being up all night. You know, a lot of people when we first met, a lot of our friends used to say to her, you know, just Jamie and his friends sort of like the drugs and stuff. She's like, no, he works nights, because we could carry on, you know, our partying, we could stay up till 6 a.m. because that's a normal day for us, you know. But so it'd be from 2 p.m. to 6, 7 a.m. just drinking, hard drinking. I liked the whiskey. I liked to dance at the time, so just be hard partying, fun times. Don't get me wrong, I had a good time, but it takes its toll. Hangover then is 2-3 days, but then you're back in work, not seeing daylight, and just kind of it's like with a hangover, you sort of feeling down and negative anyway. So it's just a spiral, and that period of time was a spiral. So that was my next big struggle with it. Seasonal affective disorder is common for shift workers, and especially on nights. I struggled with that a lot. So that was like a rut I was in for a while, to the point where my wife sort of said to me, look, you need to change your job or change your shifts at least and see what you can do.
Actually noticed a change in you, Jamie? Had your personality start changing, or?
I mean, she met me on the nights, but it definitely got to a stage. I think when our relationship got not stronger. I mean, when we were progressing it and we were getting closer, and it was the real deal and stuff. It was kind of
she was realizing the toll it was taking on you.
Yeah, sort of you move in together and stuff, so you could see it all as well. She'd come home from work and I'd still be in bed, and she'd be like, she'd understand this because I'm working nights, but she'd also know he's not sleeping because he's tired. He's sleeping because he's just nothing to get up for. So it was taking its toll, and I think it had got worse just the longer it went on. It's a couple of months, okay, it can be horrible. A couple of years can be sort of draining. When it's sort of 7-8 years, it's just they said my appearance, my skin was grey. As I say, I was smoking a lot of the time, and it was just all getting on top of me, and no escapes. Obviously, you sleep, you go to work, you sleep, you go to work, you sleep, you get up, drink all day, go to bed, sleep, wake up, go to work. So there's no escape. So that's why I applied for the train driver job. Lucky enough to get it. My very first, you do classroom stuff to start with. My very first week of training was on nights. got a week of nights.
Fantastic.
So I was like, oh god, but it was only training, and luckily down the line I've been driver 10 years now. It's lucky they've got things. It's a syndicate. They call it a mafia, where you can hand your sort of rostered shifts over, and they figure it out. So like I like earlies, I do sort of like 9 to 5, the dollies they call them, 9 to 5s, just for a bit of normality with the kids and being home. But so that's amazing, because although I'm a shift worker now, I think the last time I did like any form of shift that wasn't starting earlier than 7 a.m. or finishing later than 6 p.m. was during the pandemic. So 2 years ago, maybe. So, that sort of stability has really helped. So got off the nights, packed up the smoking, just had enough. And I feel like one of those really old people that, when you sort of say, how much is cigarettes now? Oh God, in my day it was this much, and I thought that was expensive. But pack those in. And obviously then working days and stuff, as I say, with my job, you can't really drink. You can have like a unit, I think is. I don't even know how it's minimal. So I never used to drink in the evenings and stuff. But having that normality, then it wasn't like Saturday I need to go out and enjoy the whole time.
Oh, really? Did that change then? Did it? Moving back?
It did, just because I know it's a case of getting older as well. And things like that. The sort of the energy, but the desire to be out in a bar and then a club till 4 a.m. goes. But just the happiness, I suppose. It was never one of those things at the time I'm sitting there going, I'm feeling down. But looking back, you were kind of masking it. Get drunk, you're just focusing on the night and having a good time. But
you're just numbing everything else.
Every weekend. And then looking back, you're thinking, well, you weren't happy, so you just kind of you're drinking it. But so then that kind of, not a temporary fix, I'm still doing that, but it was a relief, sort of. So I had the down, that sort of brought me up again. Then the next one, where I felt sort of the most down, not just generally kind of like beaten by nights and blah blah blah, where I actually mentally sort of felt down, came in, I think it was 2019. I can't tell you the reason for it. nothing particular happened. Our first son was about 18 months old at the time. And yeah, same thing again. It was more, I was discreetly aware of it. My wife was aware of it. And what did it for me was for my birthday, which is March. So my wife and my parents sort of grouped together and got my wife and I a stay at a local sort of nice hotel with a spa and stuff, you know, a massage and dinner.
Lovely,
And when they presented it to me, you know, his lovely card and stuff, what it was, I just broke down in tears. And it was happiness, you know, it was
Right.
almost like that told me you're not in a good place. And I think it's, you know, I'm sure you're the same, Al, like it was kind of the realization that this isn't just affecting you. Other people are aware of this, you know. So I was kind of like, well, my wife is putting up with me and dealing with whatever I'm dealing. I'm maybe not aware of it all the time. My parents, obviously, they're worried about their, you know, however old baby boy, like, you know,
Yeah,
always
always
be
the baby, aren't you still?
Yeah. And then it's kind of like, you know, my son was 18 months old. It's like, well, have I been doing right by him this whole time? Or, you know, have I been giving 100% of what I need to, you know, and it's just kind of, I was like,
It's just
wow.
questioning everything, yeah.
Yeah. And the fact that it wasn't like I was sitting there day to day going, you know, I feel really down. I was just down. That was the, as I say, that was the realization for me, or the brought it to the fore that, you know, you're not great, and this is, you need to do something about it. Your family are noticing, and they've done this for you.
Yeah.
And that was amazing. We went and stayed, had the massage and dinner, and it was amazing. It was kind of, that's when I went to the doctor just to speak to him about how I was feeling. And I'm a big supporter of the NHS. You know, everyone's dealings with it is different. I've had plenty of things, you know, with my wife, you know, giving birth to our two kids. We had situations going on, and the NHS were amazing. Couldn't sing their praises high enough. With this situation, I did feel very fobbed off. It was kind of like started to talk, and just, it could have just been the doctor having a bad day that day, you know, and busy. I know how busy they are and stuff, but it was very much like they heard feeling low, right? Blah blah. Okay, well, we can give you this, or just see how you feel in a bit and come back to us if it doesn't get better. And I was like, okay. So I didn't go back to them. I didn't, you know, I didn't take the prescription or anything like that. I just thought it was more, I can be quite stubborn. So I was kind of more, right, you're not listening. You know, I don't think you're actually trying to help me. You're just kind of, maybe you've got like a, oh, okay, you've ticked this box, so we do this. So I was like, right, I'm going to fix it. My brother-in-law is a runner. He's an amazing runner, 2.5 hour marathon man and stuff like that. He sort of said to me at the time, would you ever thought about going for a run? I said, yeah, I don't do running, mate. You know, like, yeah, don't do running. It's fine, thanks though. He said, well, I think, you know, be beneficial. I ended up agreeing to go to a park run with my sister and my mum. My mum, you know, wanted to get healthier, lose weight and stuff. And my sister sort of, I'll give you a moral support. I was like, fine, I'll come as well. We walked, it was 2 laps. So we walked the first lap with my mum, and she sort of said, right, I'm done. I look back at the photos, I was wearing Converse, like jeans, and like a real grunge sort of jumper, like holes in it and stuff. Like not running attire at all.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, no worries. Well, might as well do the second lap, 2.5K. And I think my time for that one was an hour and something. But the second lap I ran, I probably stopped about 25 times. You know, when you initially start and you're very paranoid, 60-year-old woman's sort of speeding past. I'm going, oh God, you know, I should be.
Yeah.
And but it didn't get me down. I was like, oh, right. It was more something to focus on. Right, this is terrible. I'm so unfit. I need to get better at this.
Right.
Went to the odd park run, got appendicitis, so that was put on hold. In the recovery, I got the sort of most sluggish and heaviest I'd ever been. That got me a bit sort of down, but not. It was more like a, geez, right, I need to do this. I took my brother-in-law's advice. He'd come for runs with me and stuff, and he was brilliant. It was amazing. And and that's where the bug came for the running. You know, you
Right.
sort of, you see, especially at the start, isn't it? You know, when you see the improvements like every week, and you
Yeah.
know, you get the endorphins. Oh my god, this is amazing! You know, give it 6 months, I'll probably break a world record or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah,
It's
so I got
easy
the bug
this
for
running. I've
running.
worked it out. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You know, and you know, well, shave off 2 minutes every single week. You know, eventually you're going to be a 3 minute 5K run. But so yeah, so that's when the bug for running came in, and then luckily, since then, running has been a massive. That's been my alongside therapy. That's been my therapy or medication. You know,
Yeah.
feeling sort of stuff on my mind, I'll go for a run. You know, trying to deal with stuff. Going for a run is my release. You know, if I don't have, if I can't run, spells of injury. I don't know if you're the same, but spells of injury and stuff. I'm very aware of my mood and my mental health kind of taking the dip.
Really? Yeah. And if you find those times really, really tough, Jamie, yeah.
I do, yeah. It's I know you keep saying, you said to me sort of pre-record, and when we've been face to face, like everyone's situation is their own. Don't compare, and you know.
Yeah.
But I can be very much like I can't run and I'm feeling crap about it. But it's like, well, what? Because you can't run. You know, people have got real problems. So I try and sort of have that conversation with myself. I know sometimes it can be a bit like, it makes you feel worse, doesn't it? You know, because you're like,
Does,
well,
yeah.
you know, yeah, all right, people have got it worse, but you can only deal with your own thing.
Yeah.
He's trying to sort of, you know, put it into perspective. But touch wood, I've got to run after this, so I don't want to be texting you saying I've you know, broken my
Oh
leg.
no.
But yeah, touch wood. I'm been injured for a little while, and I'm training at the moment for a race, so it's all going well. So I'm able to have that at the moment, which has been good, because moving on to the last sort of period, which has probably been the hardest for me, and the worst. Being a driver, obviously on the underground, it's, as you read in the Evening Standard and the newspapers, all of it's true. You know, we are on £15 million a year. We do get 60 weeks holiday a year and stuff like that. But there are also other sides of it that I think people don't really think about. So I went 9.5 years with no incidents, all good. And
Yeah,
then
this is scary when you hear a train driver saying, "I've had an incident." You go, "Oh no."
well, yeah. But you know, I suppose an incident can be, you know, self-inflicted, I suppose. A little, nothing dangerous, but you know, like you can mess up yourself. But so November, I had my first. It's called a near miss incident.
Right.
So it can be for anything. It can be somebody accidentally falling. It can be people messing around. It can be people trying to you know, harm themselves. It can be anything really. I had a guy wait until I pulling into the platform, and as I got sort of right to him, leaned out. I can't speak for him, but my interpretation to this day is he wasn't trying to hurt himself. He thought he was funny. I mean, he was laughing as he did it, and you know, slammed the brakes on. In subsequent, you know, therapy and stuff, I've been talking a lot and learning a lot about fight and flight. Mine was fight, so opened my cab door, shouted down the platform at him, saying, "You know, what are you doing?" And he sort of, even he was sort of laughing then. He was saying, "Oh, you know, I've got a bad back." I was stretching my back out. I was like, "Well, you know, you have to lean over the platform," and he said, "And that makes you laugh, having a bad back." And you know, called him a couple of things maybe I shouldn't have. Got back in the cab, pulled away, and the thing that I felt at that time was just anger. It wasn't. I didn't feel upset or traumatized. I was just so angry,
Right.
most angry I've ever felt.
So you're in fight mode. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, and you know, called it in to the controller, said, you know, this has happened, and the first thing they ask you, are you okay to continue? Obviously, welfare check, but also, you know, you're going to be holding up the service, so can you let us know? I said, no, at the moment I feel okay to continue, but I'll let you know. At least I want it to be recorded.
Is this on the underground, Jamie?
On the underground, yeah.
Okay.
And then when I got to the end of the line, which was 2 stops later, Obviously I got off the train stop, and everyone that's left on it is getting off. And the guy who I saw, the guy who did it, he kept as far away from me as possible and left the station as quickly as he could, because he knew, basically I embarrassed him on the platform by pulling him up on it, you know.
Yeah.
He went, and I had a really nice guy. Two passengers came up to me separately. The first one just sort of said, "You're all right." I was like, "Oh, yeah, you know." And then the second one was an older guy, retired mainline driver, you know, sort of British Rail. And he sort of said to me, "You okay?" You know, I said, "Yeah, you know, just idiots." And he told me he used to work as a driver. And it stuck with me, because when I was relaying the story to like my wife and stuff, this is the part where I got upset. I'd be fine telling the story, and then this bit I got upset. Like, he said, "You know, I couldn't believe what I was seeing when he did it. He was on the platform at the same station when it happened."
Okay.
And I said, "Yeah, I know." You know, he said, "Do you realise how close you were?" I said, "Well, I know it was close, because he didn't lean out until I was right by him, so he didn't have much time to." And he said, "It was, you know, millimeters you missed him by." And I was like, "Oh, you know, okay, you know." And finished my shift, which I shouldn't have done in hindsight, but I finished my shift. Excuse me. As I say, came home. Wife came home, told her, "How's your day?" I said, "Oh, had an incident." Talk. Got to that bit about the retired guy, and then I started to cry. But it was one of those, you know, "Oh, I don't know why I'm getting upset," you know, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, went to work the next morning, and it was a new manager on the desk, and he said, "You know, how you doing?" I said, "Oh, I'm feeling a bit funny, you know, but after yesterday." He said, "All right, so what exactly happened?" Told him the story, exact same moment of the story, got upset. He's like, "Right, you know, go, we'll cover your first, you know, your first trip.
Right.
Could you write a memo just to what happened, just so we can give to the, you know, the incident managers, blah, blah, blah." "Yeah, no problem." While I'm doing that, communal room has got the computers. So I've got sort of colleagues, you know, my friends coming over going, "Oh, I heard what happened yesterday, you know, you all right?" Yeah, fine, you know, blah, blah, blah. Same part of the story every time. Every time it was like a trigger.
Right.
Excuse me, sorry. And eventually wrote the email, but so there's many managers that work shift work as well. So I didn't know who I was sending the email to. So I went around to their office for the incident manager, poked my head in, said, "Oh, just wanted to check who to send it to." And he said, "Okay, like what happened? You know, I wasn't in yesterday." I said, "Oh, I had a near miss, blah, blah, blah." And same trigger, but it was tenfold. Whether it's repeating it again and again in that short space of time, but I just lost it. Floods of tears, like, you know, when it's sort of uncontrollable. You know, I was in my most attractive state, you know, I was all there, "I'm sorry for, you know, crying in front of you like this," you know, and he's going, "Don't be silly, stop apologizing for crying," you know, and sat me down. They sent me home, said take some time. And it was so a couple of days where I felt really emotional, just, you know, sort of couldn't control my emotions, basically. Like, I'd get really upset if something upset me, I was really upset. Just, yeah, I couldn't moderate my emotions. Then the first couple of nights I was having dreams about the incident, sort of relaying it in my head. Sometimes I hit the guy, sometimes I didn't. So, you know, little things like that. And then after a couple of days, the dreams started then to involve my kids. It doesn't matter how old your kids are, but mine, you know, 6 and 4, so they're young children. So it's, you know, it'd be different things involving my kids, or it'd be the incident and it was my kids. The guy had my kids. So that was really hard to deal with. And then went to the doctors. Got signed off for a longer time. I was really struggling with it. And the thing is, after a little while, I felt like the inability to control my emotions was getting easier. I was able to control them more, but I just wasn't sleeping. Just couldn't sleep, and I was running every day. So it's the only time my running being my therapy, it kind of actually became a what's the word? Like, it became a sort of additional problem, because So the day I got sent home from work, I literally came home, threw my running stuff on. I don't know what I ran. I think a half marathon or something. And it got to a stage on that run where my legs were saying to me, "You need to stop, like slow down," like But my brain was going, "No, no, keep going, keep run away from it, basically."
Yeah.
So my running wasn't helping me. I was running too hard, too fast, too often. It became routine, and I was in my head. I'm like, well, if I run, I'll tire myself out. I'll be knackered, be able to sleep. But it wasn't helping me sleep because obviously the lack of sleep is a mental thing. But then I was exhausted. So I was just a zombie for, I'd say, I think I took a month off in total, 3 weeks in total. And in the first 2 weeks since the incident, I'm not joking, I probably had about 8 hours sleep in the first sort of 10 to 14 days after the incident. And it was just, that was doing me in. I just felt like a shell, zombied. And so obviously, well, for me, and obviously I shouldn't say that, but so therapy was booked in, went to see my therapist who I'd had a couple of sessions with before, the time before around my birthday and stuff. After that, I sort of saw my therapist. And that sort of made it easier, sort of trying to, deal with things like, it's probably a silly thing, but it sticks with me. I had my first therapy session. It was extremely difficult, but very useful. Excuse me, sorry, people listening, getting that in their ear. But yeah, it was exhausting, but very helpful. And I came back from it, and my wife said to me, she probably doesn't even remember saying it. She says, "The first time I've seen you yawn in like 2 weeks," and yeah, but just like a little thing. But I was like, and I was so hopeful because I felt good after the therapy session, and yeah, I yawned like it was before. I wasn't sleepy tired, if you know what I mean. I was just oh, I'm yawning, so my body's going all right. Maybe it's relaxed a bit that will let me sleep. So I got into bed, early. I was listening to music and stuff when I was going to bed to try and sort of calm me down. We'll get onto that. That's when your podcast came in and helped me a lot. But yeah, so after that good therapy session, I yawned. So amazing. Had the worst sleep of the whole experience.
No way.
And you're just like,
I thought I was in a good one there for the yawn.
No, yeah, well, so did I, but maybe I was putting too much pressure on myself, or I don't know, but obviously that in itself, you can sort of beat yourself up more when you're feeling low. And I was like, well, what can I do? Therapy was good. I got a lot of stuff out, and I've got a lot of tools now to try and deal with the incident. And I yawned, like I'm tired. I yawned. Why didn't I sleep? So then the battle then. So then I had to put a stop to my running because I sort of said, look, you're just physically killing yourself now as well as mentally killing yourself, basically. Give yourself a couple of days, which did help. Second therapy session, explained to my therapist and had a go at my therapist. Well, why didn't it work? Like the first stop was really good and I didn't sleep,
yeah.
Had another good therapist. And it sounds probably cliche and stuff, and I don't like saying it, but time, that's that's the only thing that well, for me anyway, for the situation with me, it was I just needed time. I just didn't know that at the time. Again, it's my career. It's dark humor is one of the perks of the job. Unfortunately,
right.
I have to get back to it, and I got to a stage where I felt the longer I'm away from this, the harder it's going to be to go back. So I kind of made a decision. I spoke to my management, who were really good. They let me come back with so I wasn't officially back in work, but I was just riding with a colleague in the front of their train. They were in charge of the train.
Yeah.
It allowed me to, enter platforms, go through the scenario day to day without being in control. So if I did have a little freak out, I'm just a passenger sat next to them. They're in charge.
Yeah.
My colleague who I went with, an amazing guy, absolutely amazing guy. He just, whether it's his technique or just he knew what I needed, I don't know, but he was perfect He helped me with it. I did a little bit of driving. Eventually, after a week or so, I said to him, I want to drive through the area where it happened.
Right.
And he was brilliant. And I remember going through the area the first time. We were talking about something. He's a former RAF guy, and he's been on tours and stuff. And so we were sort of talking about stuff like that. As we were approaching the station, it happened. I just felt like I couldn't answer him. I kind of like locked in. I was like, oh God, oh God. But I could just feel he was talking and talking and talking. And I felt really rude. I was like, God, I'm not really listening to him. Went through the platform, slowed right down. I sort of got through it. And obviously the guy from the incident isn't stood there. It's a different time of day. It's, but it was just a, I don't know, aura around the station. Excuse me. And I said to him, I'm so sorry, mate. I haven't listened to a word you just said for the last minute. He said, I know.
He's fine.
He goes, yeah, he did it on purpose. Basically, it was kind of like a background noise to keep me from getting too locked into
too tunnel visioned.
Yeah. So stuff like so after I kind of laughed at that, I thought, right, okay, well, I've gone through it, did it again, and eventually, what work let me do was it was a Sunday morning, so it wasn't too busy. I'd basically the station before, I'd stand there, and I'd basically commandeer the train that came through and said, look, mate, can I drive into the station?
Really?
And whether it be an hour and a half or a 2-minute ride, a train driver is going to let you take their, get out of work for as much for as little time as they can.
2 minutes, fine.
I'll say agree, So I drove into the platform. Thank you. Got off, rode back down to the thing. Next train in.
Just kept doing that, Jamie, yeah?
I just did it.
Kept going to the same platform all the time?
10 times, just literally into Moore Park is the place it happened. Into Moore Park. Thank you. Got off, rode as a passenger back to the station before. Next train. Do you mind if I drove into Moore Park and just bang, 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 to the point where by the end of, I was emotionally exhausted by the end of that day. But in terms of driving, it was normalized again. It was kind of
and that's boring, what you needed.
I needed to basically remove the trauma from that particular place, because everywhere else up and down the line, all the other stations, I had no issue at all. I was a little bit more. You get people standing over the yellow line, or bit too close to the platform, but they're not going to do anything. They're on their phones, or they're just stupid, looking to see when the train's, and you don't think, oh my God, you're just like, can you move back? And I was like that with everywhere else. It was just this one place, so that normalized it for me. So luckily, so I was back in work before Christmas, all good. And I felt kind of strong. I felt like I'd overcome it. So I was on a high of like kind of, I've dealt with it. It's happened. It was horrible, but And then when would it have been? It was start of March, so just over a month ago. I had a second one. So 9 years of nothing, and then sort of a couple of months I had a second one. This time affected my where I said the first one, I wasn't sleeping. It got to a point where I felt like I'd be able to return to work, but I was just so tired. This time it affected my moods and stuff, in terms of my mental health. This pushed me more to sort of a depressive sort of state of mind.
The
incident itself, it was a school kid, 14, 15, old enough to know better, but still he's a school kid. Again, I knew he wasn't trying to hurt himself. I knew he was showing off to his mates, but he was hidden behind on this particular platform. He was hidden. There's stairs, and the platform continues behind the stairs. So there's a little bit there, which is you're blind as a driver coming into the platform. It's blind until you get there.
Okay.
So with the first one, I saw the guy standing there, and he was sort of standing a bit close. And as I got close, he leaned forward. This one, I didn't even see the boy until I was with him, and he did the kind of like that, like laughing.
Like a pretend jump into the platform.
Yeah. He was chatting with a couple of mates, and he just pretended to like jump off the platform right at the last minute. But because I couldn't see him until I saw this uniform going like this,
that movement,
and that's what again slammed the brakes on. Fight or flight. It was fight again.
say a few words to him, did you?
I said a good few words to him. But this time, at the time, and for the first couple of days I've been to, I felt like I could handle it a bit better. I think a lot of people, in hindsight, I understand now. People going, "Oh my God, like second one so soon." I was like, no, I think that's actually helped me because, I'm sort of still. It just feels like one big thing. So I've still got the tools. I've learned I can just use them again. It'll be fine. So with this lad, rather than just tearing into him and whatever, I sort of said to him, "Look, what are you doing?" He went, "Just messing about." And I said, right, do you understand what drivers, what we have to deal with when you do that? He's like, well, I didn't jump. I said, mate, you're not going to jump. I don't know that. You're in right frame of mind. I don't know that. You're safe enough away that you're not going to slip or, anything could happen, but I don't know that. Like, I just literally see you jumping out. And I said it a bit more sort of forcefully and stuff. And by the end of it, he was just, I'm sorry. So like, I don't know, I've not seen him since, but I got the feeling that he was like, oh crap, I shouldn't have done that. He learned. I don't think he'll do it again. That alone, the supervisor came up to me this time. They said, "You're right to continue." I actually said, "Yeah. I'll see how I go." And I stopped myself. Sorry, when it happened, I finished speaking to him, got back in my cab, and I burst into tears. Whereas the first time, it was the next day. This time it was straight away.
It was immediate.
Immediate, yeah. Saw the supervisor come in to do the welfare check, see what's everything okay, because I'd called it in. And he said, "You're right to continue." I said, yeah. And I stopped myself when you did this last time. I said, "No, I'm not fit to continue."
Right. Nice one.
We have to empty the train out. So obviously now everyone knows, trying to get to work. It was obviously the school run in the morning. They're all getting kicked off the train. You're going to have to wait for the next one to come through. Walking through, point out the boy to the supervisor. So he's getting spoken to. His friends are sort of around him smirking, not at me, but as in, mate, Davey is getting told off. How embarrassing for him. So I think in that sense, he won't do it again, hopefully. Ran out of service to the next station where a driver took over for me, and took it back in, and I went back to my my home depot. It was the same manager on who I spoke to the morning after the first one, so he was very aware what I'd been through, and how it affected me first time. Again, walked in, burst into tears straight away. Went home, and just kind of, I think the thing that with this one was my sleep was okay. No terrible dreams. I was sleeping through the night, so I was like, I feel like I'm handling this okay. I'm doing all right.
Okay.
So I took a week off. I took 6 days. It's self-certificate yourself for 7 days before you need a doctor's note. So I took 6 days, and I was like, no, I feel sitting at home is going to make it worse. I think, I can just feel okay. Just let me get back to work. I can do this. I had one in November. It's fine. Went back to work. I did the same thing. A couple of days of gradual return, and I did the same thing of driving through the area because that really helped the first time.
Yeah.
And at the time, with the first one, driving through the area, first couple were a bit nervy, and then I was like, okay, no, you're good. This is fine. This time, I did about 3, and it wasn't like an anxiety attack, but I had to leave the station. I got off, and I was like, I need a break. I need to, So I got off, and my aunt worked just literally outside the station where I was. So I went and saw her for sort of 20 minutes, had a chat with her. But then going back, I did like 1 or 2 more. I started to feel that in my chest again, sort of. And I was like,
right.
Well, you sort of dismissed it, and you sort of like, well, no, it'll be all right. I was right the first time. And this time I was back in work then. So I got back, on the horse, in the cab, and went back to full shifts, and I was doing okay, and I was fine to be at work in that sense. But my mood, like my mood and my mental state was just getting lower and lower and lower. So whereas the first time I couldn't really function, I wasn't sleeping, I was exhausted. This time I was functioning. It was the other way around, I suppose. You know, first time physically, I was just knackered, I had no energy. This time I was fine, but just mentally I was just struggling hard. As I say to you, it's been, I mean, it's not been long. It's only been a few weeks, and I'm in a good place at the moment. Still coming back, you know, but compared to where I was, that's the lowest I've ever felt. You know, my wife sat me down and sort of said, like, I'm really worried about you. I'm worried about where this is going. And it was, you know, it was impacting my life, you know, snappy with her, no patience or tolerance with the kids. As I say, 4 and 6. So they're hard work, but they're kids, you know, like that's what they do, you know, like they're you know, they're just having fun or at the age of pushing boundaries and stuff. But I just didn't have the capability to function as a parent, like to deal with it. That then puts all of the responsibility on my wife. You know, bedtime can be a tricky situation. You know, they won't listen, don't want to go to bed, and I didn't have any patience. I'd lose it, start shouting. I'd have to remove myself from the situation. It's like, you know, this is not fair. So my wife is dealing with all of that. Obviously, that can cause a strain. You know, my wife works full time. She's also a parent to these 2 children. She's tired. She's got her own things going on. You know, other situations. We've got a family member who's not very well. So it's just a burden. And then, you know, like we were saying pre-record, like the guilt. Then I'm dealing with. You know, I'm so stressed out, and my wife's, you know, really annoying me because, well, I don't really know why, but she's annoying me, and this happened, and then you storm away from the kids, and the kids are annoying me. I can't tolerate it. I'm shouting at them. I need to walk away. You walk away. You sit there and go, it's not her fault.
Yeah.
It's not the kid's fault. Like, what's caused this? You've caused this. Oh, I didn't mean to. Yeah, but you did. This is all your fault.
Having that self-reflection.
Yeah, and you know, personally, I don't kind of go, oh, okay, right, I've you know, had a light bulb moment. I realized this is on me. It's not them. All right, cool. I'll go back upstairs. Oh, sorry, guys, that was on me. All good. You go down on yourself again. Why am I doing this? You know. Then I get you know, the sort of not blame, but you know, I start thinking about the lad who pretended to jump, the guy the first time pretended to jump. You've caused this. You've done this to me. You know, like I was fine, and you've made this happen to me.
Yeah.
All that is going on in my head, you know, and so it was just hate's a strong word, like it's too strong, but I mean it was just this atom bomb of negative energy, of down energy, self dislike. You know, you're in a rut, you don't know how to get out of the rut, so you're angry at yourself because you don't have the tools to get out of the rut. You're making other people feel worse. You take it out on those other, and it was just spiraling. I was spiraling. Back to my therapist. That really helped. And again, it's been time, Al. Like we spent the half term. My wife's Irish, so because her family member's unwell, we spend all our time, like our holidays and stuff. We go back to Ireland, spend time with her family. But it was needed, you know, just to have that sort of step away from everything. You know, like the kids get to run around this big garden. You know, we sort of slow down with just life. You know, when both of us are off work, both of us, we haven't got to be here for this appointment, do this, do that. We literally just we do a whole load of nothing when we're there, which is exactly what I need.
But that's what you needed. Yeah,
yeah,
you
just
needed
to
that.
slow down, forget about stuff, and just exist. Just getting my running in. Running's going well, so that was back to helping me rather than you know, adding to the stuff. And so that's where I'm at now, really, mate. Just kind of, I mean, my wife would say the same. We had a conversation about it, sort of. It was on the way home. We drive there to Ireland, so we got the car and all the stuff. So it's a long old day traveling, but again, it's perfect time. Kids are fast asleep in the back, and we can sort of have a chat. And she sort of said to me, you do seem you're coming back. You seem, and I sort of said, I feel it. I feel like I'm. Don't get me wrong, I'm not fully there yet, but yeah, I'm.
Well, that's good to hear, Jamie. Yeah, that you've been through such a difficult time,
Yeah,
such negative energy around you, but you're just starting to come back now.
yeah.
And so I think we'll have a quick little ad break there, and then we'll come back after that. So yeah, here's some ads, and we'll come back to Jamie after that to see how he's getting up and moving forward and in a better place. Okay, welcome back from those ad breaks. I hope you enjoy them. And maybe he's even purchased one or two, even though, yeah, they're real. Obviously, they're real. Now we'll return to Jamie now and see how he's getting on and if he's in a better place, putting those incidents behind him and realizing the pressures that he's gone through, especially those close calls. I think even what he's done there straight away was a really good thing, because you had two kids on the platform playing about and stuff, and just to themselves they were thinking they were funny, but sometimes life's about seeing it from other people's perspective, and they didn't know what Jamie's gone through, and it took a lot. It took a lot of strength to get back into that cab, go back down, and then two kids playing around could have changed everything. So he managed to make sure that kid knew exactly how he felt, and just making people see things from different perspectives is sometimes key. If you can't understand why that person's got so angry or so upset, you don't know what they've gone through. But let's go back to Jamie now and find out where he is. If he's starting to get rid of that negative energy and what really works for him moving forward, what helps him with these problems that he's going through. So, Jamie, are you in a better place now, mate?
I am, mate. Yeah. As I said sort of before, I feel like I've got tools now that I can use, through my therapy, through my running. I do want to say, with the first incident just before Christmas, it was sticking in my mind a lot. And I spoke to you recent get together. I'll remember this clear as day. It was a day I had things to do in the house. One of them was get the Christmas tree down from the loft and set it all up, for when the kids got home, they could decorate and stuff like that. And I mean, I knew you before the podcast, but you I don't know how early it was. I think it was one of the first couple of episodes at the time. So I thought, right, I'm going to listen to it. Listen, like we're doing now, I suppose. People going through things, hearing other people struggle, and
Yeah.
you're not alone and stuff.
And
At the time, I
normalizing
was
it.
like,
Yeah.
I was like, all right, it could make me feel worse hearing sort of sad stories, but yeah, I was like, I need obviously being at home, everyone's at work and stuff, and I'm at home. I needed like a connection, sort of thing, and a conversation about sort of similar things might help, might not. I turn off, if not. So I thought I'm going to put on Al's podcast. And yeah, I remember sitting on the floor, sticking our Christmas tree together and getting the baubles out ready for the kids and stuff. I had my Spotify up on the telly and was listening to your podcast. And I messaged you at the time. As I say, we hadn't chatted too much at that stage, but I messaged you saying, look, thank you, basically. I don't know if you remember, but
Yeah.
just saying, like, you're doing an amazing thing. And it was a case of, at the time, well, it's, and now still obviously, but at the time, the mindset I was in, I needed it. I've said to you before, what you do with this podcast, I think is brilliant. Hats off to you for it. It's helps you, with how you are feeling and stuff. But you are making a difference. We'd all want 25 million subscribers, followers, and this, that, and the other, but you made a difference. I can say 100% that day with that episode, you made a difference to one person. So yeah, well, now's my opportunity to say thank you to you, mate.
That's all that counts. If I can help one person,
yeah. But I know it's a lot more, because, as I say, we met recently at a track social thing. You've got your video on that. And there was a few people there that I spoke to. I don't know, I'm sure you did as well, but I spoke to them, not with you, who said the same thing. You know, that what you're doing is brilliant. We were sort of watching you from the side, you know, doing your sort of records. You weren't aware of us watching you, but talking about it then, just saying, yeah, one, fair play to you. I could never do this. I know I'm on here now talking to you about it. I'm glad I'm doing it. I don't think I would have done it. Part of the reason I've decided to do this is because it's helping me, but it's not for me. It was talking to you that day and saying, you know, I think you're doing a really good job, and you're like, oh, okay, well, you know, if you ever want to come on and stuff, it was like, oh, I'll do that for because of what you're doing, and as I say, you are helping people. I wanted to do it as a favor for you, so you have another episode for other people. You know, it's not to get my story out there at all, but just, yeah, that day putting the Christmas tree together, the way listening to the podcast made me feel it was just a bit of comfort. That makes any sense. You know, the situation. I listened to forgive me now, the person who was the guest. I listened to the one with Lol. She sounds like an amazing,
Loz,
amazing
yeah,
person.
yeah, Loz is great, yeah.
Loz, sorry. And I can't remember the other one, but it was just different situations to me. As I say, how many people can go, oh yeah, you know, I had that incident driving a train as well. Like,
yeah, exactly.
No one,
yeah,
but just, yeah, the comfort and the sort of it's going to sound into a big, you know, blowing smoke up somewhere, but you're natural, you're easy to talk to, you're relatable, and all of that helps. As I say, it's helped me speak to you about my situation. You know, I'm having to pay through the nose for an hour to do it, which always helps, you know, rather than the therapist. But yeah, it helps, mate. It helps people to talk.
Thank you, Jamie.
And it helps people to listen. So yeah, that's my opportunity to say thank you. I will say as well, you probably don't remember this either. I ran the Great North Run last year. I think
I
I
did. I was on the BBC.
You were, yeah, you were. I saw her afterwards, but the first time I ever saw you, not on Instagram and stuff, in real life, I was walking to the pens. And you know, you get to the bit by the start line where all the, you know, the celebrities are and stuff, and everyone's over the fence having a look who's there. And I saw you, I've seen in your video since, it was you talking to Gabby Logan. And I was like, oh, that's personnel. And I was like, okay, but I was like, I'm not gonna. You're far enough that I could, if I shouted, you'd be like, who's that sort of thing?
Yeah.
I'm not gonna shout, you know, I'm not gonna be a fanboy. But oh, that's cool that he's there, you know. And then wherever it was staged during the, you know, you went up with the
with Mo Farah, yes.
grass, yeah. I was down the back with the paupers, but at some stage in the race, I could see. For those who don't know, everyone does know, but for those that Al is quite tall, so I could see you in the distance. And as I went past, I thought, I'm not going to stop. And you know, it's like, you know, you see someone you recognise. What I'm one of those. I would never go up to them. Hi, how you doing? Can I have a selfie? Blah blah blah. I'm like, I've got nothing to say. You know, you'd be like, you're all right. And but as I went past, I said, I'll keep going now. You're doing great, mate. And you just went, am I? Like that. And that was it. And I carried on going. But I was like, you know, that was my first interaction. You won't remember it, but that was my first dealing with you. Yeah, so I just thought that was pretty cool. Like, it was obviously, you know, your local race, the big race, and yeah, and then obviously you didn't know that, but for me, seeing you that day, or seeing your stuff on Instagram, then meeting you, but seeing you having a quick word as I went past, to then chatting, contacting you about your podcast before to say well done, the recent social when we had a chat face to face, and then obviously being here now. So I just thought it was quite a cool timeline, really.
That's so cool. Actually, I didn't even realize I said that. I think one of the issues with me though was like I started in the first pen with Mo Farah, and I just had like, you know, the odd 60,000 runners passed behind us. Yeah. So I had the lovely feeling of every runner overtaking me.
Yeah, and but fair play to you though. Like, you know, Mo Farah's last race, and you know, you're like, no, go on, you have this one, man. Like, that's really good of you. Yeah. You know,
what I found really strange is a lot of runners were overtaking us, going, "All right, Al."
Yeah.
And like, yeah. And I realized, hang on, my name's on the front, so I understand why people from the front are going, "Hello, Al, keep going." But how did the people behind me know who I was? All these runners. I was like, Al, you're 6'8", you stand out. People can see you a mile away. Well, that's got to be him. And then I mean, pass going, "All right, Al." And I was like,
as I say, it won't be.
wow, am I affecting that many people? That these people know me now?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I don't know you because of your height. I know you because of your output and stuff. So to go, the height helped me go. There he is up there
That's
ahead.
it. Yeah.
But I don't know you as Al, the tall guy. I know you as Al, the however you want to describe the social media presence and what you're doing, the ambassador for
I'll take
mental
that.
health,
Yeah.
mate. Hats off to
Yeah.
you.
Thanks, Val. Yeah. Yeah. So back to yourself. I was lovely having a bit of a praise for me there, Jimmy. Thank you so much, mate.
Was that enough? I don't know the amount you pay me. I can't remember how much you wanted me to praise you, mate.
Maybe just a couple more minutes. But it's not all one way as well, Jamie, because you're saying like, I'm helping people, but you're helping me as well, because there's been times even you can tell from not really knowing each other personally face to face, but how much we like putting things on social media. You can tell, I don't think Al's right today, or you haven't seen him for a little bit, and you'd reach out and we'd have private messages, and there'd be times when I'm saying like, yeah, I am struggling, and you were there for me as well, Jamie. So that's what it's all about. We're there for everybody. We're all together in this. And
Yeah,
we're just
no,
trying
you're
to
right, man. Like,
normalize what we're going through. Because, yeah, as you say, there's not going to be many train drivers out there listening to this who have similar incidents.
yeah,
But it's not about the journey but it's like we all got to almost that same point, that breaking point. What are we
yeah,
going to do about it? And then realizing one of the biggest things that does help is just talking about it, normalizing it. Because I think a lot of the time you feel like you're the problem, you're the one that's having this problem, and obviously
yeah,
so much more worse things going on in the world. I should be able to deal with this, and I can't.
yeah,
But no, it's your journey that's got you there, and that's your moment, and
yeah,
you can't belittle what you've gone through to compared to anybody else. We all have these struggles, and it's about opening up and just talking about it. And it's absolutely fine to say, look, putting your hand up and saying, "I'm struggling here,"
yeah,
and just the odd kind word, a little message from yourself, Jamie, things like that. And sometimes, as I say, it almost feels like, yeah, there's somebody out there who cares. There's somebody out there who's wants to talk at any time, and I can make I can really make a difference to somebody who feels quite isolated, because sometimes even if you feel isolated, you might not be, but you're putting those walls up around you
yeah.
to stop hurting other people.
I don't know if you feel
But
the
if
same, but having mental health struggles, I feel like it's hard to take your own advice. Like I'm
yeah,
very like I said, I did see a couple of times kind of slight posts maybe, or things that made me think, I don't know if he doesn't sound like he's doing okay, and I'll just drop him a message.
yeah,
Um, and it's not an empty thing. If you came back and said, no, this happened, that's happened, then that's good. Whereas if it was the other way around, and you messaged me saying, oh, you sound a bit, is everything all right? It's easier to go, yeah, yeah, it's all good, it's all good. So
mm,
having people support each other like that, and as I say, this podcast is one of those things. It does, as I said to you before, I decided to sort of say yes to coming onto this, as a favor to you, because it's you. I wanted to help you with the podcast, but now I've done it, and I have been forced, not I've been forced to talk about my stuff. It's
yeah.
benefited me. It's something that I'm glad I've done. Maybe I wouldn't have done it
Okay,
without sort of the personal
yeah,
interaction beforehand. So it's easy to say, yeah, just talk and stuff, and when you're feeling low, isn't it?
oh yeah,
It's hard to talk, but all we can do on things like this is say, if you're feeling rubbish, if you're struggling, just talk to someone, like therapist, family, a stranger, an Instagram friend, like and
mm.
somebody who's listening is somebody who's helping, I think.
Lovely words, mate. Lovely words. And I think we'll leave that there, because that's a nice way to finish, Jamie. So thank you for your battle. And now we'll move over to our friendly fire questions. So this week we've got Jamie's friendly fire question, which will be answering the question for the next battle guest. So Jamie, before you give your friendly fire question and answer, I'll just say, for the podcast, if you're listening to this, you won't hear Jamie's answer because that's the cliffhanger. But exclusively for our YouTube viewers, stay tuned. We'll hear what Jamie's answer is also to his friendly fire. So, Jamie, what is your friendly fire question?
Okay. What song, if you're in a situation where you were forced to recite the full lyrics to a song, I don't know, to win £1 million or to save something, you have to start to finish all the lyrics to a song, what song would it be?
Oh, name the whole lyric to the whole song.
All the lyrics. You have to get all the lyrics right from start
every
to
lyric
finish.
has to be absolutely right.
That's it.
Wow.
I think it's one of those, initially, it's harder than you think. But if you have time to think about it, everyone has that song.
Everyone has that. I suppose everyone will have almost like their favorite song that they'll be able to recite under pressure. But that's a good one. So for our podcast listeners, we will leave Jamie there, and you have to tune in next week to find out which song he can recite. But for our YouTube viewers, we will carry on with this recording now. So, Jamie, what is the song?
Well, I'm not going to do it now because, under pressure, if I get it wrong, I've got my own question wrong. But I would say the song that I would be able to under pressure, it's a song kind of fitting, I guess, for my job and stuff. Stop This Train by John Mayer.
Oh, wow. This Train.
It's a bit of a reflective song, so it kind of fits with the theme of the podcast as well. But yeah, Stop This Train by John Mayer. I recommend people go and listen to it. But yeah, I think that's one I'd be able to kind of sit there and word for word, yeah.
Superb. And is there anybody out there who thinks, there's a person who looks slightly down over there, or how do I get through to a friend who's looking a little bit different? Looks a bit down. Why don't you ask him this question? Find out what his favorite song is. It might just get him talking. You never know where different conversation starts like that can help. Well, thank you, Jamie, so much for coming on my show.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for your time.
For the favor of coming onto my show and the kind words you've said about the show there and myself as well. Jamie, you're an absolute star. You're a good guy, and in the past you've reached out to me and made sure I'm okay as well. So yeah, I'm here for you. You're here for me. We're all here for each other. Thank you for being on the podcast, Jamie.
It's been a pleasure, Al. Thanks so much, mate.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.